But from a practical lens, are there kind of particular skills that come to mind when you think about what is required for somebody to foster groups and cultures of belonging?
And this is something that I've, learned or adapted over the years of being in various roles. And that's really when you walk into a situation, whether that's, being a new grad student, being a new undergrad in Toronto or anything, and you wonder whether you should be there, is actually just frankly, it's hard for people, is to just get up and just start asking questions, right? uh how are you, what's the day like, that sort of thing, and getting a sense of of just communication, I think, is so key to this. And it's in a non-confrontational way. It's about, I'm going into a meeting. There's a key focus on that particular meeting. I'm not sure if I've got the right perspective on the meeting. So I'm always a little bit quiet at the beginning, right? To see, like, should I actually be in this meeting? Should I actually be in this part of this contingent discussing stuff? And what I like to do is I always have some sort of an icebreaker that helps bring me into the discussion, right? And I know you guys use these a lot, right? Different types of icebreakers. But one of the things I love to use is um, bringing a. I pick up on something when I walk into a room, right? I pick up on something on someone that someone's doing in the room, or someone's wearing, or somebody's eating basil box, wanting to know what chicken on rice feels tastes like. Picking up on something like that, so you feel, you immediately sense a connection with the people in the room, and building off of that, right, is something that I use a lot to try and get a lot more comfortable with the context and the situation. um, I think it helps others, because they're also, frankly, everybody in the room is in the same boat. They're all thinking the same thing. Am I, like, why am I in this meeting? What am I in the right group? Am I supposed to be here? And they're also looking for that kind of smooth transition into the discussion. And that's one of the things that I find is really useful. I mean, I'm sure everybody can relate to the situation where you're in a group setting and people are asking for your perspective on something. And there's usually sort of, everybody waits until somebody else says something, and then you kind of kick in with a comment, right? But did you ever notice that your comments are almost always aligned with somebody else's comments? Like, I was just about, and you don't, and you're not just making it up, like, oh, I was just going to say that, so I don't have anything to add. The reality is that actually was what you were going to say. And it really proves that you do belong, because you have the input, you had the perspective that's valued. And then if you kick in with a comment or a perspective, there's always someone else who says, I actually agree exactly what Vivian just thought, right? And it really, it you may not think that you belong there, but in fact you do. And I always find it intriguing. I'll give another context. We review grants all the time, right? Peer review grants for funding. And we do this in isolation before you go to the peer review meeting, where everybody has to put their scores in, everybody has to put their comments in, and all this kind of stuff. So you're always wondering, am I in the right, like, do I know enough to actually make a reasonable comment or a reasonable assessment of this? And I'm going to give a score and all this kind of stuff. And I'm always astounded when you go into these, that people's comments, diverse peers from across different institutions, different countries, different fields of study, always seem to pick up on exactly the same things, always seem to pick up on the same perspective. And it really proves that you are actually so aligned and you do belong to that. There's a reason people pulled you in to be part of that community, to do that assessment. And it's really surprising, I find, how well that works as a process. So it's another example that you may not feel like you belong in that group, but also actually really do. And other people see that in you. And that's one of the reasons they asked you to be in those positions.